1, 2, 3, come on!
Hi, good day. I'm Teacher Giovanni once again and welcome to Math TV Lessons channel. In my previous video, I discussed to you on how to add, subtract, and multiply decimals. But today, I will teach you on how to divide decimals and even whole numbers in which the quotient is in decimal form. Yes, in this video, I will discuss to you on how to divide smaller number by a bigger number. Yes, you heard it right. We can divide smaller number by a bigger number. I know that you're so excited to learn today, so let's go. Let's start our lesson. Our topic today is division of decimals up to 2 decimal places and division of whole numbers with quotients in decimal form. Some people think about division as fair sharing because when you divide a number, you are trying to create equal parts. Division is also the inverse operation of multiplication because it undoes multiplication. In multiplication, you combine equal sets to create a total. In division, you separate a whole group into sets that have the same amount. We need to know other forms of quotients in dividing whole numbers so that we are aware that not all quotients in a whole number form. Problem number 1. Lita drives 1 9/10 kilometers in 700 hours just to get the module for her grade 5 daughter. What is her average speed? In order to know the average speed, we have to divide 1 9/10 kilometers by 700 hours. Step number 1. Change the divisor to a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right as many places as needed to make it a whole number. What is our divisor here? Our divisor is 700s. So since 700s is a decimal, we have to change it into a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right. How many places do we need to move the decimal point to the right? Okay, we are going to move 2 decimal places. So 700s will become 7. And what will happen to your dividend? So our dividend here is 1 9/10. The decimal point is in between 1 and 9. We are going to move the decimal point to the right. How many times?
We have to move the decimal point to the right the same places in our divisor.
Right. Since we move the decimal point 2 decimal places to the right in our divisor, we also move the decimal point 2 decimal places in our dividend. So 1 9/10 will become 190. Our new equation is 190 divided by 7. Step number 3.
Divide the whole numbers. Then add zeros if needed, which serves as a placeholder.
Right. 190 divided by 7. So 19 divided by 7 is
2.
2 times 7 is 14. 19 minus 14 is 5. Bring down 0. So 5 will become 50. 50 divided by 7
is 7.
7 times 7 is 49. 50 minus 49 is 1. Since we don't have a digit to bring down, we are going to put decimal point and then add 0. So bring down 0, 1 will become 10. 10 divided by 7 is
1.
1 times 7 is 7. So 10 minus 7 is 3. We have to continue. Again, we don't have a digit to bring down. We have to add 0 that serves as a placeholder. So bring down 0, that will be 30. 30 divided by 7 is
4.
4 times 7 is 28. So 30 minus 28 is 2. Now we add another 0 as a placeholder. we are going to bring down, so 2 will become 20. 20 divided by 7 is
2.
2 times 7 is 14. So 20 minus 14 is 6. So we stop until there. Then step number 4.
Put the decimal point in the quotient directly above the decimal point in the dividend. Round off your answers up to 2 decimal places only.
So this will become 27 and 14 hundredths. So we need to put the decimal point directly above the decimal point in our dividend. So the decimal point will be in between 7 and 1. So our answer here is 27 and 14 hundredths. Therefore, the average speed that Lita drives is 27 and 14 hundredths kilometer per hour. Step number 5.
You can check your answer by multiplying the quotient and the divisor.
Problem number 2. Emmanuel filled his 63-gallon pool with water in 5 and 8/10 hours. How many gallons per hour did he use? In order to answer the problem, we need to divide 63 gallon by 5 and 8/10 hours. Step number 1.
Change the divisor to the whole number by moving the decimal point to the right as many places as needed to make it a whole number.
So we have 63 divided by 5 and 8/10. So our divisor here is a decimal number. So we are going to move the decimal point to the right. So how many times do we need to move the decimal point? We only need to move once. What we did in our divisor will be done also in our dividend. So our dividend is a whole number. Automatically, that the decimal point of a whole number is right after the last digit. So the decimal point is right after the digit 3. So we need to move the decimal point once to the right. Since we don't have digit here, we are going to put 0 as a placeholder. So this will become 630. So our new equation is 630 divided by 58. 63 divided by 58
Is 1.
1 times 58 is 58. We are going to subtract 63 minus 58 is 5. Bring down 0. So 50 divided by 58 is
0.
right. 0 times 58 is 0. 50 minus 0 is 58. What will you do here? We are going to bring down the digit next to 0. But we don't have any digit to bring down. What will you do here? You are going to put decimal point and add 0 as a placeholder and then bring down. So 50 will become 500. So 500 divided by 58 is
8.
8 times 58 is 464. 500 minus 464 is 36. We need to add another 0 in our dividend as a placeholder and then bring down. 36 will become 360. 360 divided by 58 is
6.
6 times 58 is 348. 360 minus 348 is 12. We need to add another 0 in our dividend as a placeholder, then bring down. So 12 will become 120. 120 divided by 58 is
1.
1 times 58 is 58. As you can see, we end up to 3 decimal places here. What will you do next is to
Put the decimal point in the quotient directly above the decimal point in the dividend. And then round off your answer up to 2 decimal places only.
So we will round it off to the nearest hundreds. And we are going to look the digit to its right. So what is the digit to the right of 6? That is 1. So 6 is still 6 because the digit to its right is 1. And the rule in rounding off numbers that a digit to its right of the number to be rounded off is 0 until 4, we are going to round down. But if the digit to its right is 5 or more, we are going to round up. So the answer is 10 and 86 hundredths. We put the decimal point directly above the decimal point in our dividend. So therefore, Emmanuel uses 10 and 86 hundredths gallons per hour to fill in his pool with water. And step number 5.
Check your answer by multiplying the quotient and the divisor. The answer must be equal to the dividend. In case there is a remainder, add it to the product.
We are now in the second part of our lesson, which is division of whole numbers with quotients in decimal form. Let's have problem number 1. A group of 5 friends ordered 4 slices of pizzas. If each one of them ate an equal amount of the 4 slices of pizzas, how much pizza did each person eat? How many group of friends ordered pizza?
There were 5 group of friends.
How many slices of pizzas ordered by the group of friends?
There were 4 slices of pizza ordered by the 5 group of friends.
Do you think each of them will eat 1 slice of pizza? The answer is
No,
why?
because 4 is lesser than 5.
In order to know the number of pizzas each person ate, we have to divide 4 slices of pizzas by 5 friends. Like this, 4 divided by 5. In order to divide smaller number by a bigger number, we have certain steps to follow. Step number 1.
Write a 0 and a decimal point in the quotient as well as a 0 in tens place of the dividend.
So 4 divided by 5. Since 4 is lesser than 5, we have to add decimal point after 4 and add 0. And then you have to put decimal point in your quotient directly above the decimal point in your dividend, like this. And then step number 2.
Divide. Continue dividing until the difference is 0.
So 40 divided by 5 is
8.
Where do we put 8? So we are going to put 8 after the decimal point. So 8 times 5 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. We have to put 0 before the decimal point in order to know that the number is less than 1. Step number 3.
Multiply the quotients and the divisor in order to know if your answer is correct. And the answer must be equal to the dividend.
So 8 tenths times 5 is 5 times 8 is 40. And then we are going to count the number of decimal places in our factors. We only have 1 decimal place. So we are going to move 1 decimal place in our product. So the answer is 4.0 or 4. So each person ate 8/10 slice of pizza. Problem number 2. Juan made 10 sandwiches for her 20 friends. If her friends ate the same amount of sandwiches she was made, what part of the sandwich did each of her friends eat? How many sandwiches did Juan make for her friends?
Juan made 10 sandwiches for her friends.
How many friends do Juan have?
Juan has 20 friends.
What part of the sandwich did each of her friends eat? In order to know the number of sandwiches each of her friends eat, we are going to divide 10 sandwiches by 20 friends. It looks like this, 10 divided by 20. In order to know the number of sandwich each of her friends eat, we have to divide 10 sandwiches by 20 friends. It looks like this. So 10 divided by 20. And 10 is lesser than 20, so we have to follow the following steps.
Step number 1. Write a 0 and a decimal point in the quotient as well as a 0 in the tens place of the dividend.
It looks like this. So 10 becomes 100. Step number 2.
Divide. Continue dividing until the difference is equal to 0.
So 100 divided by 20. So that is,
5.
where are we going to put 5? We are going to put 5 after the decimal point. So 5 times 20 is 100. So 100 minus 100 is 0. And we are going to put 0 before the decimal point to know that the value of it is less than 1. Step number 3.
Multiply the quotients and the divisor, and the answer must equal to the dividend.
So 5 tenths times 20. 0 times 5 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. And then we are going to add. So bring down 0. Then 0 plus 0 is 0. Then 1. And we have 1 decimal place in our factor. We are going to count 1 decimal place in our product. So the answer is 10.0 or 10. So the final answer is, each friend of Joanne ate 5 tenths sandwich. We are now done with our examples, so I challenge you to answer the following questions. Okay, so we are now done with our lesson about division of decimals with up to 2 decimal places and division of whole numbers with quotient in decimal form. But before that, before we end this video, let's have a short review on the different steps on how to divide decimals. First one is you are going to change the divisor into a whole number by moving the decimal point to the right as many places as needed to make it a whole number. Step number 2, as not to affect the value of the quotient, let's move the decimal point in our dividend as many places as it was moved in the divisor. Step number 3, multiply the whole numbers and then add zeros as a placeholder. Number 4, put the decimal point in your quotient directly above the decimal point in your dividend. Round off your answer up to 2 decimal places. And lastly, and the final step, in order for you to check whether your answer is correct, multiply the quotient and your divisor. And the answer must be your dividend. By the way, I'm Teacher Giovanni once again, and thank you so much for watching this video. I'm saying that math is minds. Math is not a difficult subject if you're willing to learn. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye!